Chiang lived in a wealthy family. He lived happily with his parents and younger brother. Chiang thought he was the luckiest person in the world, until one day he accidentally heard a conversation between his father and grandmother. His grandmother thought that Chiang had many schemes since he was young, so she advised Chiang's father to send him abroad early. Chiang's father said that he was doing the paperwork. Biological children and adopted children, of course, could not be the same. It turned out that since Chiang was 6 years old, he was adopted by this family. His adoptive father wanted to adopt Chiang just because he wanted him to be friends with his biological son. Since then, Chiang always felt lonely. He knew that in this world no one truly loved him. Until one day, Chiang met this girl. The appearance of Jen completely changed Chiang's lonely world. That day, Jen went to visit his friend Tan Su's house. Because Tan Su was not studying seriously, the teacher was not satisfied with his academic performance. If this continued, Tan Su would not be able to enter Deepening University. So the teacher asked Jen to come to his house to advise him. Jen went to find Tan Su, but he was not at home. At this time, Jen passed by a house on the side of the road and heard a woman scolding. Jen felt that the voice was very similar to her mother's, so she leaned in to listen. Chiang stood by the window and saw Jen. He told her to add his WeChat. If Jen liked to hear scolding like this, then Chiang would save a place for her later. Jen saw Chiang's uniform and found out that he also studied at Yizhong School. Chiang's mother told her son not to fall in love early. If he wanted to fall in love with someone, he should bring them home to meet his parents. Mother Chiang also told her son to change his clothes because Professor Zhang had written a letter of recommendation for him and they should go thank him. Chiang said that he stayed up all night playing games with his friends yesterday, so now Chiang doesn't want to go anywhere. Chiang's mother told her son to move back home. Chiang asked if he wasn't going abroad soon, so why would he move back? After Jen returned home, her father asked how her exam results were. Jen said they were quite good and that she wanted to study at Deepening School. Jen's father was very surprised to hear that because he thought his daughter wanted to study at Peking. Jen replied that Deepening School was also very good. At the billiards club, Chiang asked Yang Qi what happened. Yang Qi said that Juyan had made up a love story with Chiang, but she was discovered by netizens to be lying. So Juyan asked Yang Qi for Chiang's home address. She really wanted to be Chiang's lover. Yang Qi promised that she would never do it again. Jen had lent Tan Su her 4-leaf clover necklace. Now she wanted to get it back. A while later, Jen and Tai Ying went to find Tan Su together. He asked if she came to see his joke. Jen said that the exam this time was really difficult and many people did not do well. She heard that the expected valedictorian even skipped an exam. Yang Qi and her friends heard that. He said that maybe Jen didn't know that Chiang skipped the elective exam, and she even used that reason to comfort Tan Su. Tan Su had a bad attitude towards Jen. He was jealous that she was about to enter a key school and he had to retake the exam. Tan Su thought that she was no longer of any use to her. Jen told him to return the necklace to her. Tan Su immediately took it off and threw it. Downstairs, Jen and her friends hurried downstairs to look for it, but they couldn't find it. Kai Ying thought it might be on the tree. Jen knocked on Chiang's door and asked for his help. Chiang and Yang Qi helped her find the necklace on the tree. Jen said she wanted to invite them to eat, but Kai Ying felt a bit embarrassed because she and Jen both had boyfriends. After a while, Jen and her friends went to eat. Jen planned to get on good terms with Chiang. Then she would find a way to meet his mother. Chiang went to the store to take up a seat. A boy played rock, paper, scissors with him, but lost every time. When the boy's father arrived, the boy immediately accused Chiang of kicking him. Jen stepped forward and said that it seemed that Chiang's shoe soles were very clean and that he had kicked the boy without leaving any footprints. The boy was very embarrassed when he heard that. When the boy learned that Chiang had saved a seat for an old man, he became even more embarrassed. The boy's father discovered his son's lie and quickly apologized. Jen sent the recording to Chiang and said that her father worked in the hospital and had met many different kinds of people, so she reminded him to keep evidence when he encountered anything. Chiang's mother called and told him to go see Professor Zhang tomorrow. Chiang didn't care which school he would attend. Ever since he heard the conversation between his grandmother and father, he knew that the people in this family didn't really love him. His parents were even afraid that Chiang would take the inheritance from his younger brother, so Chiang just wanted to live quietly. From then on, he always disobeyed his parents. That day, Jen couldn't buy baked sweet potatoes. She was worried that if she returned empty-handed, her grandmother would be angry. Chiang suddenly remembered that someone had given his a bag of sweet potatoes a few days ago, so he immediately invited Jen to her house to bake sweet potatoes. When Jen used the excuse that her house didn't have a microwave, Chiang knew she was lying, but Jen insisted that it was true because her aunt thought that microwaves had radiation, so she absolutely wouldn't let people use them. So Jen had to go to Chiang's house to bake sweet potatoes. Then she asked for his WeChat, but he used the excuse that his phone was out of battery to refuse. But soon after, the phone rang again. When Jen got home, her grandmother was still awake. She told her that if she wanted to eat something, she had to say so early, because it wasn't always possible to meet a kind person who would help her bake sweet potatoes. Then Kai-ying came to find Jen and asked how things were going. Jen said that she had not met Chan's mother yet, because he and his mother did not live together. Jen suspected that Chan was adopted, because she had heard his mother talk about their family, and the way she spoke did not sound like she was talking to her own child. Tai-ying thought that perhaps Jen was thinking too much, but Jen pointed out that Chan's belongings all had names written on them. She said that maybe it was because he was too clean, or that Chan had lived in a communal environment, so he had to write his name on his belongings. When Tai-ying asked how to meet Chan's mother, Jen did not know how, because she had not even been friends with him on WeChat. Jen's mother had passed away in a car accident a few years ago, and she did not understand why the woman's voice sounded so similar to her mother's. Jen's father saw that his daughter had finished her exams, so he advised her to go out and relax a bit, but Jen needed money to go out, and her family did not have the means. However, when Tai-ying asked to go out, Jen immediately agreed. At this time, Xing-chi came to find Qiang and asked him to go away from the heat, because his group needed an adult to accompany him. Qiang asked for 800 yuan a day, and if Yang Qi was also there, he would add another 500. Xing-chi did not hesitate and immediately agreed. On the way, Qiang's group coincidentally met Tan Su. Qiang immediately avoided him. Yang Qi teased him like a lover meeting a husband. Qiang explained that he just did not want to have a conflict. At this time, Yang Qi recounted that Jen's ex-boyfriend, Tan Su, once pretended to have depression. He also gave a fake medical certificate to slander that his classmate was bullying him, which caused the other person to drop out of school. The medical certificate was actually fake. This story was told by a classmate, Tan Su. Xing-chi complained that the water on the mountain was hard to drink, and he asked for purified water. The shop owner explained that this was spring water, and there was no purified water here. Jen's father and the boss are good friends. When Jen and Kai-ying came here to play, they accidentally met Qiang. Jen asked where his parents were, but Qiang said they weren't coming. When Kai-ying asked Yang Qi, he said that Qiang would bring his family here, but it turned out that the family was just Qiang's younger brother. Xing-chi refused to drink the spring water, so he forced Qiang to go down the mountain to buy some. Qiang had no choice but to tell Yang Qi to text Kai-ying to invite Jen to borrow a car. Jen and Qiang then went down the mountain together. She borrowed his phone charger because her phone was out of battery. Qiang gave her the phone to turn on the GPS, and he said the password was 4 numbers. Jen wondered why he didn't use his birthday as the password. Qiang revealed that it was his birthday. Jen mentioned a movie with deep symbolic meaning, but Qiang said that the detail had been corrected and that it was just a prop. When Qiang and Jen reached the foot of the mountain, Xing-chi called and asked him to buy another portion of spicy stir-fried frog. Qiang asked for more money. Jen heard it and said that there was a restaurant selling that dish here, so she didn't mind bringing one. When Jen ran into Tan Su at the restaurant, he asked her if it was because they were no longer compatible, and Jen insisted that they had never been in love. But Tan Su insisted that the two of them were still like a couple. It was just that they did not openly show their feelings. Jen frankly exposed that Tan Su had never had a mental illness, he was just controlling her. Returning to Qiang, she asked Jen what was wrong. She said that she had scared Tan Su and asked him not to follow her anymore. Then Jen asked to be friends with Qiang on WeChat. She also promised that if she had something to make money in the future, she would invite him to do it together. Qiang agreed to hear that. When she got home, Jen immediately showed off to Kai-ying that she had Qiang's WeChat. Kai-ying suggested setting up a group chat because she thought that it would be boring for the two of them to chat privately, and if they set up a group chat, it would improve that situation. The next day, Yang Qi discovered that his charger was missing, so he immediately went to borrow Qiang's charger, but he had already lent it to Jen. At this time, Yang Qi urgently needed a charger, so he asked Qiang to go and ask for a new one. Jen texted Qiang, informing him that she had left her phone charger at the restaurant and would buy him a new one. Yang Qi was suspicious, thinking that Jen was deliberately making up excuses to approach Qiang a few more times. On the contrary, Qiang could not refuse her because a different feeling had arisen in his heart. However, in Yang Qi's opinion, Jen's only special point was that she had a boyfriend, while Qiang was just attracted by the excitement of the taboo. The next morning, Qiang went to have breakfast with Yang Qi. Since the weather was nice today, Yang Qi asked Qiang to go for a walk with him. Qiang did not object, and Yang Qi also took the opportunity to prevent Xingqi from following. At that moment, Jen and her boss came to find Qiang. The boss wanted to know if he had ever filmed a commercial. Qiang said that when he was young, his mother used to take him to film, and because Qiang had a cute face, he often got attention from others. Jen mentioned a new job, and the boss was the one who wanted to invite him to participate. At first, Qiang refused because he did not want to use his appearance to make money, but after Qiang learned that it was just a promotional video for a tea garden, he immediately accepted the boss's invitation. Then the group moved to the tea garden. Here, Zhen and Cai Ying took on the role of models in the shoot. After the work was finished, everyone rested. At this time, the boss brought water and asked Zhen to give a bottle of water to Qian. While the group chatted, Chang stayed alone to avoid disturbing others. In another location in the garden, Yang Qi was painting with Xingqi. However, because the quality of the painting was not up to standard, Xingqi was criticized and angry, and threw the painting from above. At that moment, Zhen and Cai Ying turned around, and Cai Ying was almost hit by the falling painting. Qiang immediately asked his younger brother to apologize, but Xingqi firmly objected, thinking that he was the one being bullied. In that situation, Qiang made a condition that if Xingqi did not apologize to Cai Ying, he would have to pack his bags and go home. Xingqi was forced and angrily left. Cai Ying found Zhen's previous assessment correct, as Qiang and his younger brother had distinctly different personalities. After the incident, Qiang called his mother. She shared that Xingqi had long admired him. The boy often went into his brother's room and wore his brother's clothes, and Xingqi wanted to become like him. His mother also hoped that Qiang would not be too strict with his younger brother, but he completely disagreed. He didn't want to cover for his younger brother just because he was young. Qiang's mother seemed impatient. She refused to continue the conversation and quickly hung up. At this time, Zhen accidentally heard part of the conversation. She quietly followed Qiang. When Qiang discovered Zhen, she said that her mother also didn't speak gently, but she believed that her mother always loved her children in her own way. Qiang didn't agree with Zhen. He thought that there were people who adopted children for profit. Lu Zhou recounted his memories when he was young. He once asked his mother about his grandmother's rumor that he was adopted to take on the misfortune of his younger brother, but his mother said that if Qiang wanted to be with her forever, he had to listen to his grandmother and father. Later, when Qiang argued with his father about studying abroad, he was forced to be grateful just because he was raised. Zhen then drove Qiang to a field. She gave him a 4-leaf clover. She hoped it would bring good luck to Qian. In the evening, the group had dinner together. During the meal, Yang Qi suddenly asked Zhen about her boyfriend. Cai Ying admitted that it was just a made-up story. Zhen then asked if she wanted to meet Chang's mother. She said that Chang's mother's voice was very similar to her mother's, so Zhen hoped to have the opportunity to meet her. Chang agreed and promised to arrange a suitable occasion. Not long after, the boss reviewed the promotional video that Qiang participated in. He was very satisfied. The boss asked Qiang to take charge of the post-production, and he happily accepted. When the boss learned that Qiang intended to go abroad, the boss expressed regret. He thought that there were many opportunities for development in the country. Zhen heard the conversation and calmly said that everyone had the right to choose their own future. At the cafe, Zhen chatted with the boss about Qiang. The boss praised him for being young, but doing a good job. Zhen suggested that he increase Qiang's salary because he had put in a lot of effort. Although the boss teased her for only talking about money, Zhen explained that she only wanted to increase Qiang's benefits, so he wouldn't break his promise. Qian, who was standing nearby, accidentally overheard their conversation. He was very surprised because Qiang had always thought that Zhen didn't like him, but now she was defending him. The boss wondered why Zhen was so good at studying, but she didn't leave this place to go to Beijing or Shanghai. Zhen thought that this was her best choice, and that was what she should do. Then, Qiang called his mother and asked if she had time to visit Zhen, but his mother was busy and made an appointment for another time. Meanwhile, Xingqi complained that because he was forced to go into the forest to draw landscapes, he was bitten by mosquitoes a lot. Xingqi suggested that his brother ask someone to get medicine for him, considering it as an opportunity for him to meet someone. Qiang asked if that person was Yang Qi, but Xingqi quickly denied it, saying that yesterday at the bar, Tai Ying had attracted attention. Then Chang texted Zhen to ask if there was any mosquito repellent. She agreed to give him the medicine in the hotel lobby. When Yang Qi saw this text, he joked that this was an opportunity for Chang and Zhen to meet. When they met, Zhen gave Chang the medicine and said that it was sent by her father's friend. Then, Chang invited her to dinner to thank her, and Zhen immediately agreed. When the two of them ate together, Chang told her about the time he was tricked by Yang Qi into drinking alcohol and got drunk. When Chang ordered lemonade, Zhen remembered that her mother had advised her to drink lemonade instead of orange juice. house. Then, Chang and Jen talked about majors. Jen said she wanted to study architecture, which surprised Chang because he had thought that women were not suitable for this major. Chiang then realized that his daughter's delicate emotions were very suitable for the profession of architecture. Chiang told Jen about an underwater bookstore designed by a female architect and criticized the quality of Qingdao's architecture. Jen insisted that she would stay here. Chiang advised her to go out and explore the wider world. That night, when there was news of a meteor shower, Yang Qi asked Chiang to go with him, but he refused because he had to make a film. Kai Ying said that Jen would also come because her mother was an Aries and she believed that people would turn into meteors after death. This surprised Chiang, but he decided to go with Yang Qi. The atmosphere at the place where the meteor shower was watched was very cheerful. Chiang asked Jen to turn around so he could take a photo of her. Kai Ying and Yang Qi parted ways, leaving Jen and Chang together. Jen said that the underwater bookstore was designed by her mother and that she had always dreamed of becoming an architect like her mother. But after Jen listened to Chang's advice, she began to think about whether she should go far away to explore the wider world. Then Chang and Jen went out for a late-night snack. Jen asked for the price to split it. Chang wondered if she needed to calculate so carefully, but Jen insisted that it was normal to split the money, and she said that he was not her boyfriend, so it had nothing to do with it. Chang jokingly told Jen to transfer the money via WeChat, and she did so immediately. When Chang returned to her room, Yang Qi teased Chang that Chang and Jen were a good match, and suggested that Chang try to pursue her. Chang just smiled and replied that if Jen was still single when he returned to China, he would pursue her. Chang and his mother had dinner with Hui Hui, who was Professor Zhang's daughter. While everyone was eating, Mom mentioned that Hui Hui had also been admitted to a university in Ruicheng, and she hoped that Hui Hui and Chang could take care of each other in the future. Chang's father was about to go to the airport. Mom immediately asked him to pick her up and take Hui Hui to the movies. Chang could only reluctantly agree. At the same time, Zhen's father called to ask his daughter about watching the meteor shower, and he wanted to learn about a person named Chiang. Only then did Zhen remember that she had not yet grouped her friends on social media, so she only answered vaguely. Then Zhen's father mentioned the weather, and he advised him to finish work early and go home. On this side, Yang Qi called Kai Ying, wanting to ask about Xing Qi's situation. Kai Ying was upset because Xing Qi refused to draw. Yang Qi commented that, although Xing Qi was stubborn, he was very obedient to Zhen. Zhen asked for a fee if she wanted her help. When Yang Qi was asked about Chang, Yang Qi accidentally revealed that he was going on a blind date. This information surprised both Zhen and Chai Ying. On the way, Chang took Hui Hui to the movies, but Chang remained calm. Hui Hui initially showed interest in him, but her boyfriend quickly appeared and took her away. Chang returned alone. Then he received a call from Yang Qi. He told about Zhen's harsh reaction when he learned that Chang was going on a blind date. Yang Qi also teased that if Chang didn't come back soon, his money-making job would be taken by someone else. Chang just smiled calmly when he heard that. Meanwhile, Zhen and his group of friends accidentally met Zhe Xiao, who was Kai Ying's ex-lover. Zhe Xiao was currently in love with Chai Jing, but he appeared with another girl. Kai Ying was furious and determined to ruin his date. Yang Qi planned to make the other girl realize Zhe Xiao's true nature. Zhe Xiao soon discovered that he was being followed and provoked, but Kai Ying immediately retorted strongly. When he was about to hit her, Yang Qi appeared in time. He stood up to stop and warned Zhe Xiao. Zhe Xiao angrily threatened Kai Ying and left. After a while, Chan called Yang Qi and took the initiative to ask if everyone needed to buy anything. Yang Qi told him to buy some food, and Jen only asked for water. On the way back, it suddenly started to rain. Chan quietly recalled the old days when he used to walk in the rain with Jen. When Chang arrived, because people were not allowed to bring alcohol into the resort, Chang and Jen stopped at a nearby karaoke bar. There was only one double room with a sofa left, so the two of them were forced to sit close together. While Chang and Jen were waiting, he shared that the reason he had to go on a blind date was because his mother had arranged it. Jen did not seem to care. She just calmly reminded him that she would leave tomorrow because her father had switched to the night shift, so Jen could not leave her grandmother alone at home. Jen's father returned home and gave his daughter money, which was a preparation for her to step out into the world, where she would continue to pursue her ideals and an independent life. Jen then got a job as a cameraman, and she asked Qian to go with her. However, he refused because he was in a hurry to complete another project. Jen was clearly disappointed. She felt that there was a distance between her and Qian. When Kai Ying asked about their relationship, Jen only said that although she and Qian had been together for the past few days, she still felt that they were not compatible. A few days later, Qian went to play basketball and coincidentally met Tan Su. During the basketball game, Tan Su intentionally collided accident, causing Chiang to be hospitalized. Coincidentally, the person who treated him was Jen's father. When Chiang went to the hospital for a checkup, he felt strange when the doctor kept asking about his family situation. Although Chiang answered politely, he still did not understand why those questions were related to the medical examination. Meanwhile, Jen's father told Chiang to go for a checkup first. As soon as he left the room, Yang Chi immediately came over to ask for the results. He was worried that the injury would affect Chiang's happiness. Even Chiang himself was not clear about everything because he did not receive any specific diagnosis from the doctor. He only asked about Chiang's family. Yang Chi looked suspicious and thought that the doctor might be implicitly asking for bribes. A moment later, Chiang returned and said that his injury had improved, so he wanted to leave first. After Jen's father carefully examined Chiang's wound, he diagnosed that Chiang only had a skin injury and that the wound would normally heal on its own in 1 to 2 days. However, if the wound had not healed after a week, Chiang would need to be re-examined. At that moment, Kai Ying's father appeared and recognized Chiang. During the conversation, Jen's father discovered that an envelope was clipped in his medical record book. This surprised him. Jen's father did not expect Chiang to do so. He immediately handed over the envelope as he did not want the matter to become more serious. Jen then went to survey a store with Kai Ying, and they were accompanied by photographer Feng Jin. During the conversation, Feng Jin mentioned an excellent photographer. That person had a documentary that had been broadcast on television, and his photographic works had been published in famous magazines. However, when Jen checked the quality of the goods at the store this time, she found that the reality was far from the advertisement. She felt that she could not continue praising the product. Feng Jin advised Jen to maintain a professional attitude since she had received advertising money from the store, so she could not criticize their products. Jen then transferred some money to Chiang, which was considered a support fee, and invited Chiang to go with her to survey and chat further. While the two were talking, Jen expressed her awkwardness at having to praise an unsatisfactory product. Chiang did not force her, but gently said that if Jen did not want to do it, there was no need to force herself. Jen ate a bowl of noodles and bought another portion to take home. Since neither she nor Kai Ying had eaten anything due to being busy all day, Jen asked about Chiang's current job. He said that he was collaborating with a car team and that he was currently working as a cameraman for the racing team. When Jen learned that Chiang had to continue filming tomorrow, she expressed her wish to go there and watch. Chiang did not refuse her wish. However, during the next day's filming, Chiang's companion had a conflict with the racer Lu Yang. Because the filming affected the training process, Lu Yang threatened to break the camera if he continued to be disturbed. Chiang stepped forward and explained that everyone had their own treasures. Lu Yang's treasure was the car, and Chiang's treasure was the recording equipment. He offered to film the finish line himself to avoid conflict. After Chiang finished filming, the footage he shot was praised by everyone. That night, Jen texted Chiang and complained that Kai Ying kept asking her where she was going, so she had to tell the truth. As a result, both Kai Ying and Feng Jin wanted to go together, but Chiang only gave a short reply, which made Jen not know if he was angry or not. The next day, Feng Jin was very happy to meet his idol. Chiang was the person he had long admired. Feng Jin also brought food for everyone. He curiously asked Jen about the relationship between her and Chiang, but Jen said the two of them were not very close. Chiang accidentally heard that conversation from outside the door. After a while, when he and Jen were alone in the room, she asked about his work tonight. When Jen knew that Chiang didn't have to continue filming, she offered to go home with him, but Chiang was unhappy and he asked her about her relationship with Feng Jin. Jen said that she wasn't as close to him as Yang Chi, but Chiang was clearly not satisfied with this answer, so he questioned why she didn't split the expenses equally with him. Chiang felt confused because Jen could be friendly with others, but she was cautious around him. He asked frankly what was considered close. Was watching a meteor shower together or drinking together still not enough? Jen only repeated the things Feng Jin had said about Chiang, which she had never heard of. At that moment, Jen realized that she really didn't understand him. Only then did Chiang understand the reason why she had distanced herself from him. At the same time, Lu Yang was asked to pick up a friend's younger sister. While Lu Yang was talking, he made sarcastic comments about Chiang. Lu Yang thought that he was just a rich kid, and the photos he took were not good. Jen felt uncomfortable uncomfortable when she heard this, so she challenged Liu Yang to a race. The condition Jen gave was that if Liu Yang lost, he would have to publicly apologize to Chiang in front of everyone. When Chang learned that Jen was competing with Liu Yang, he rushed over to watch. Jen's skills were very good, so she suggested a long-distance race. Although Jen was initially left behind by her opponent because she was not familiar with the track, she gradually accelerated and gained an advantage. Liu Yang realized that she was gradually catching up with him, and his mentality began to waver. During a turn, he lost control and bumped into Jen, the collision causing both of them to fall to the road. Seeing this, Chang rushed over and carried Jen away from there. He then took her to the medical room. Luckily, Jen only suffered superficial scratches. Her condition was not serious, so she decided to go home and rest first. Just as Chang was about to leave, he saw Liu Yan come to apologize to Jen. At the same time, Yu Tong also appeared. He told Chang that Jen had risked his life to compete to regain justice for him. Yue Tong also asked Chang to give her the champion's autographed hat. After that, Chang called Jen and asked why she challenged Liu Yang. Jen calmly replied that her wanting Liu Yang to apologize to Chang was only a sideline. Her main purpose was to get the prize. Chang laughed and teased her for being both pragmatic and kind. He asked if it was raining at Jen's place. As soon as Jen said no, it started to rain. She was angry and blamed him for the rain, but luckily she had brought an umbrella. That night, everyone stayed at a hotel. They heard that a film crew was staying there. Jen and everyone else were chatting excitedly. When Chang arrived, he encountered Jen hurrying out. She had eaten too much and felt full, so she wanted to find some digestive medicine. Chang told Jen to go to his room because he had medicine there, and he also conveniently gave Yue Tong's gift. Chang gave Jen the helmet, then he recounted Yue Tong's compliments about her. Jen remembered that she owed Chang a joke, so she immediately told her recent story at the hospital. There was a young male patient with erectile dysfunction who came to see Jen's father. Chang was startled when he heard this. He felt that the situation was very similar to his own. Jen laughed and suspected that the person was Chiang, but he insisted that he was completely normal. At that moment, the hotel security guard knocked on the door. He suspected that the two people were paparazzi, pretending to be a film crew to secretly film. Chiang explained that he was booked here by the car team to film, but the receptionist made a mistake and arranged for Chiang to be in the wrong room for the film crew. However, the security guard did not believe it. He still insisted on asking Lu Zhou and Jen to leave. At this moment, Juyan recognized Chiang and spoke up to guarantee his identity. Because Juyan was a famous actress filming at the hotel, the security guard believed her and left. As soon as the tense situation ended, Yang Qi suddenly appeared. After seeing Chang's post, he immediately ran over. Yang Qi caught Chang and Jen standing with Juyan at the right moment. Everything was cleared up. Jen thanked Juyan, but she coldly said that she did not help him. On the way back, Kaiying told Jen that Juyan always said that she liked Chang, and everyone in the industry knew this. Yang Qi added that Chiang did not have a girlfriend at the moment. At this time, Jen remembered the text message he had read. It turned out that the girl who texted Chiang to flirt with him was Ju Yan. A while later, Jen bought milk tea and returned, but Ju Yan had already left, so Jen had to give all the milk tea to Chiang. At this time, Chiang remembered something, and then he and Jen went to thank Ju Yan together. Ju Yan looked at the two and asked if they liked each other. Jen was silent and did not deny it. Chiang thought that it had nothing to do with Juyan. The next day, Yang Qi invited everyone to go out. Jen refused and said that she and Kai Ying had made an appointment to go to the temple because they had both been feeling unlucky recently. Chiang suggested going to a place called Nanyin Temple, which she had heard was very sacred. But when they got there, the two girls learned that this was a temple to pray for children, which made Jen very embarrassed. Jen then went home and told her father. The next day, Chiang went to the hospital for a PAF checkup. Jen's father returned the envelope to him, saying that Chiang didn't need to do that next time. Chiang went out and told Yang Qi about this. At the same time, Kai Ying's father also overheard it. He told Jen's father that they had misunderstood Chiang. Not long after, Jen and Kai Ying went to sell goods. There was a customer who brought a different girl to buy goods every time, which made Jen dissatisfied and criticized. The other man was unhappy and wanted to cause trouble. Suddenly, Chiang appeared in time and chased the person away. Jen then teased him into trying to do his nails. At this moment, Chiang's mother brought someone to get the news, and she accidentally saw that scene. Chiang's mother led someone else to watch the news. Then, she turned to ask Chang what happened to his hand. Chang had no choice but to reach out. The mother immediately asked him to remove his nails, telling Chiang not to let his father see. She then called him to go with her. At this time, Chai-ying realized that Chiang's mother's voice sounded very similar to Zhen's mother's, and Chai-ying even thought she had misheard. Before, when Zhen said that, she didn't believe it, but now she had to believe it. Although Zhen's mother often scolded her daughter, she was still very tolerant of her. When Zhen was young, she had played with water and ruined several pairs of rubber boots, but her mother still bought her a new pair. But Chiang's mother was different. Although she spoke gently, she seemed to be forcing others. Kai-ying began to suspect that Chiang was really adopted. At this time, Chiang's mother mentioned studying abroad. She was almost done preparing. Chiang's mother had also contacted the university, but the only thing left to do was to apply for a visa. Chiang said that he didn't want to study abroad anymore. The mother was unhappy when she heard this. Chiang's plan to study abroad had been set for a long time, and it could not be changed. Both of Chiang's parents did not agree with his wish. Chiang suggested that he might not study at Huada, and he might study at another university. If Chiang's parents were not at ease, he was willing to write a guarantee that he did not need anything from them. Chiang's mother was angry when she heard this and told him not to talk nonsense. She suspected that Chiang had a girlfriend, so she reminded him that Chiang had to end all relationships before going abroad. That night, Chiang did not return home immediately, but instead went out in the rain to buy a bottle of water. Kai-ying found that Chiang's phone was still at the screen protector shop. Zhen volunteered to return the phone to him. Kai-ying saw this and asked if Zhen liked Chiang, but she did not answer. When Zhen went to Chiang's room, she did not see him, so she had to wait at his door. When Chiang returned, he saw her standing there. Meanwhile, Kai-ying saw something unusual. There was a girl on social media who was close to Chiang, so Kai-ying immediately called Yang Qi to eat hot pot because he had promised to invite her to a meal. While eating, Kai-ying asked what she was wondering about. Yang Qi explained that the person in the photo was Chiang's cousin. She was not his girlfriend at all. Yang Qi also texted Zhen to confirm. He said that there was a small blue chair in Chiang's house, which was a special chair for Zhen. Zhen remembered what she had said before and went to look for it. Sure enough, she saw the chair. The next morning, Chiang woke up and found that Zhen had cooked him a bowl of ginger soup. She also gently comforted him, which made him very touched. Today was the day the exam results were announced. Zhen's father bought a new router to make the network faster, but he installed it incorrectly and burned the entire electrical system. While Zhen's father went to fix it, Zhen talked to Chiang. Even though the power was back on, the line was still down. Zhen's father called the operator and learned that there were too many people reporting broken electrical equipment today, so the operator couldn't send staff to fix it all. Chiang heard that and said that if Zhen didn't mind, she could give him her registration number and he would help her check her score. Zhen immediately agreed. As a result, she got 738 points. Chiang congratulated her and said that this score was definitely enough to pass Huada. Zhen asked him how many points he got. Chiang replied that he got 713 points. Zhen praised him for being very good. Zhen's father was very happy to know that his daughter got a high score. He wanted to celebrate, but Zhen gently reminded her that she hadn't submitted her application yet, so he shouldn't celebrate so soon. After a while, Zhen brought food to Chiang. At this time, Yang Qi was also there. He wanted to invite Kai-ying to celebrate. Yang Qi had already decided on the school he wanted to go to. Kai-ying was sad because she only got over 400 points, which was not enough to get into a second-tier university. Chiang and Zhen were chatting in the room. Zhen said that her score was enough to get into Huada, but she wasn't sure if she would be accepted into the architecture major. Chiang explained that there were many different majors in architecture, and Zhen should research them carefully before deciding. He also said that if Zhen didn't mind, she could use his computer to look them up. As soon as Zhen turned on her computer, she saw that it was full of search keywords, all related to her. When Chiang realized that Zhen had seen her search history, he felt very embarrassed. Meanwhile, after Zhen looked it up online, she discovered that she was interested in landscape design. Since she was little, Zhen had dreamed of having a large villa with a garden, so that she could decorate and design it as she pleased. When Zhen reviewed her scores, she also felt that she was qualified enough to apply for this major. Hearing this, Chiang immediately prepared a gift for her, which was a set of specialized books and drawing tools, which were things Zhen would definitely need in the future. Meanwhile, Kai-ying was depressed because she was not good at playing playing games. She felt that she could not do anything. Yang Qi tried to comfort her, saying that if Kai Ying did not do well in the exam this time, she could study for a year and then take the exam again. But that advice did not help Kai Ying, because she thought that she was not suitable for studying. Yang Qi suggested that she should try the aptitude test. Kai Ying admitted that she had no talent for music. She could not sing or dance, so it was not good for her to take the aptitude test. At this time, Yang Qi commented that every time Kai Ying refuted others, her mind was very agile and flexible. Perhaps she was suitable for majors related to debate. The next day when Jen went to Chang's house, she saw the violin and was surprised to learn that Chang knew how to play it. Jen said that her grandfather also played the zither, but not well. After Jen's grandmother fell ill, he played the zither for her every day, which made the whole neighborhood uncomfortable because of his zither playing. Jen didn't understand at the time, but now she understood. If later, when Jen and Chiang were 80 years old, and Chiang still played the zither for her, she would tell him the reason. Chiang happily replied that if he had an old friend by then, Chang would play the zither for that person, and if not, he would play the zither for someone else's friend. One day, Jen walked into a store and saw a moon-shaped lamp. She immediately bought it to send to Chan. Jen asked the store clerk to deliver it within the city. Just then, Tan Su happened to be there and called her over. Meanwhile, Chan was playing billiards with Yang Qi. He asked Yang Qi to keep an eye on Jen because he didn't want others to bully her. On this side, Kai Ying saw Jen chatting with Tan Su, so she secretly took a photo and sent it to Chiang. Then she quietly approached to eavesdrop. Tan Su told Jen that he had made it clear to his parents that it was his fault for not doing well on the exam, so they wouldn't blame Jen. She gently encouraged Tan Su that there were still many opportunities. As long as Tan Su adjusted his mentality, he could definitely retake the exam. Then Yang Qi showed Chang the photo that Chai Ying had just taken. Yang Qi asked him if he was really upset. Chang did not answer, but quietly went to an amusement park. There he saw someone playing the violin, so he recorded the clip and posted it on social media. When he got home, Chang found a package in front of the door. He opened it, realized it was a moon lamp. Later, when Chiang saw Zhen's new post online, he immediately called her. At this time, Zhen's father was helping her film a video sharing her feelings. He commented that his daughter seemed to be having something unhappy because Zhen was clearly not like she was now when she was young. At the same time, Chiang's mother texted to inform him of a filming session. At first, he wanted to refuse, but when Chang learned that the fee was 3,000 yuan, he agreed to participate. Zhen and her group went to share their experiences together. Yi Jing was the person in charge of greeting her. When Yi Jing learned that Zhen was Ri Jun's student, he didn't feel strange because she didn't know anyone here, because all the students here were from Yizhong. Yi Jing also mentioned a very good student of Yizhong. In the last exam, that person got 713 original points. If you count the optional points, that person definitely got more than 750 points. But unfortunately, he wasn't there today. During the recording, Li Kei talked a lot about a person called Jioren. After the recording ended, the group went to dinner together. Li Kei felt guilty for talking too much. He was afraid that the others wouldn't have a chance to speak, so he asked if anyone was angry. Yi Jing quickly reassured them that it was okay. Li Kei also shared that Zhen ranked 30th in the province, and if the so-called Cao Nian had taken the elective exam, then perhaps Zhen would not be here. But Zhen thought that if the expert took the elective exam, then the valedictorian would be him now. When dinner began, Li Kei reported that the expert would also come. At that moment, Chiang walked in. Zhen was surprised to realize that he was the expert mentioned. Chiang called Zhen back, but she didn't want to get close. She went out, and he immediately ran after her. Chiang said that there were fireworks over there, but Zhen said that she didn't come here to see the fireworks. When she was about to leave, Chiang quickly stopped her. An argument broke out between the two. Then Zhen and Chiang went to see the fireworks together. When the two stood next to each other in the bright space, Zhen asked Chiang about the exam situation. If Zhen hadn't come to film today and accidentally found out about this, then perhaps Chiang would have intended to hide it from her forever. When Chiang faced Zhen's eyes, he just calmly said that was how he took the exam, and then he didn't say anything more. Fireworks began to light up the sky, and people flocked to watch this beautiful scene. But at that time, no one could see Zhen and Chiang anymore. Li Kei looked around and guessed that the two of them were probably chatting about quantum physics again. This bottle of wine was always carried by Chang with him. It was was the bottle of wine that he kept for Jen. When Jen bent down to pick up the bottle of wine, she almost slipped and fell. At this moment, the distance between her and Chiang was very close. Jen almost leaned over to kiss him, but Chiang suddenly said that it had started to rain. Then he immediately retreated. On the way back, when Chiang was sitting in the taxi, he hesitated for a long time. He intended to text Jen to ask if he had arrived home, but in the end, Chiang still did not send a text message. A few days later, Yan Chi asked Chiang how far the relationship between him and Jen had progressed. Yan Chi was surprised by his friend's determination. Although there were many girls who liked Chiang, he only liked Jen. Yan Chi wondered what was so attractive about her. Chiang did not answer, but instead asked if Yan Chi still remembered the first gathering of the group of friends, because it was on that day that Chiang had feelings for Jen. One time, Chiang and Yan Chi went to play basketball together, and the two accidentally met someone who caused trouble. At first, they intended to ignore this, but the ball in Yan Chi's hand accidentally fell down, and the other person misunderstood it as a provocative act, so the two sides got into a fight. After that, Yan Chi and Chiang had to go to the hospital to get their eyes checked. The doctor who examined them was Chai Ying's father. He said that Yan Chi's eyes were not seriously damaged. He only had a slight scratch on his eyelid, and he only needed simple treatment in the surgery department. Chiang stood next to him and joked that if Yan Chi waited for the treatment to be finished, the wound would probably heal on its own. Then, Jen's father went to see Kai Ying's father. He repeated his previous words. If anyone likes Kai Ying, they must go get their eyes checked, and Yang Chi is that person. Because Jen's father wanted to prove his words, he also showed a photo of Kai Ying and Yang Chi together. Kai Ying's father only laughed when he saw it, thinking that it was just a few random photos of his daughter and her friends. When Jen returned home, her father gave her a plan for a seaside trip, but Jen refused because she didn't want to go anywhere, and that she only needed to buy a computer. Jen's father reminded his daughter that there was still a list of 10 things to do after graduation in her room, and this trip was something he had discussed in detail with Kai Ying's father. Jen then called Kai Ying to ask for her opinion. Kai Ying was excited when she heard about the trip because she finally had the chance to wear the swimsuit she had just bought. So Jen agreed to go on a trip. Before the trip, Kai Ying's father called his daughter to ask questions. He blamed her for not confiding in him about her love life, and Kai Ying also blocked her father's Weibo. He suspected that she was taking the art school entrance exam because she liked someone, but Kai Ying denied it and insisted that she really wanted to take the art school entrance exam, and that this had absolutely nothing to do with love. At the resort, Jen and Kai Ying both felt that this trip was very comfortable. When Jen learned that there was a re-screening of an old movie by her favorite director, she was very excited, but she didn't have time to buy tickets. Kai Ying smiled and said that she had just won 2 tickets and had already exchanged them. Then she asked Jen to go to the movies with her. When Jen arrived at the theater, she unexpectedly met Chiang, and Kai Ying made an excuse to go out, leaving the two of them alone. It turned out that everything was arranged by Chiang. Jen felt that this situation was unnatural, so she was about to stand up and leave. But Chiang stopped her and asked, "What's so fun about falling in love?" Jen replied that there's nothing fun about it, and that Chiang isn't the right person to fall in love with. Chiang looked at Jen and said that if she only sees falling in love as a joke, then she shouldn't regret it later. But Jen insisted that she wouldn't regret it, and that she would happily send Chiang off to the airport as a friend. Yang Chi sent a message to Chiang, warning him that he should take care of his own business first because his love life was about to get into big trouble. While Yang Chi was eating with his friends, Ju Yan suddenly appeared. Everyone present knew her, and they immediately started gossiping about Ju Yan's relationship with Chiang. They thought that the two were very close. Yang Chi denied it and said that it was all just a rumor. However, the group of boys still didn't believe what he said. They thought that Ju Yan was a beautiful person, so she didn't need to use Chiang to become famous. Meanwhile, the boys said many contemptuous words to girls, which made Jen and Ju Yan feel uncomfortable. Ju Yan went out and said that girls should choose men with big breasts to hug, and Jen then asked the boys to apologize to Ju Yan because they were disrespectful to her. After the boys apologized, Ju Yan and Jen left together. Outside, Ju Yan talked about her relationship with Chiang. They met in high school through an extracurricular study group. At that time, because Ju Yan was busy filming, no one wanted to be in the same group with her. Only Chang agreed. At first, Juyan thought he liked her, but later she discovered that Chan only wanted to work alone. Juyan also wondered why someone like Chan could secretly like Jen for a long time, but she still didn't know that. Jen called Chan and invited him out for dinner. They ate fried dumplings together, and she invited him to her birthday party on the 8th, but Chan politely refused, because he had a schedule to celebrate with his family due to receiving the admission notice. Even so, Chang still tried to negotiate with his mother, but she didn't agree and blamed him. Chang had no choice but to promise that if a similar situation happened in the future, he would let Jen know in advance, so that he could take the initiative to arrange it. That night, Jen's group of friends went to karaoke. A male student from the next room came over to play a challenge. He had to sing a fight duet with a girl. Yang Chi sang with him in a female voice, even making a heart gesture, which made the other guy leave in embarrassment. At the same time, at the Qian family gathering, Grandma wanted to force Qian to eat peanuts while he was allergic. Qian tactfully refused and only asked for chicken. After the karaoke, Kai Ying got drunk. Jen told her friends to go home first, because her father would come to pick her up. On this side, Chang also said that he had something urgent to do and had to leave, which made her father angry. The father thought that Qian was ruining the atmosphere of the party. Before leaving, Qian drank all his wine as a way to apologize. Then he called Jen, but she did not answer. He worriedly went everywhere to look for her. Finally, Qian not only found Jen, but he also brought a birthday cake that he had prepared. After that, the two of them watched a movie together. Qian asked Jen to sit on his lap, and he could not help but kiss her on the cheek. Jen did not hesitate to return the kiss. Then Qian took Jen home. On the way, he refused to let go of her hand. Jen immediately hugged Chang, and she was happy to hear his heart beating fast. When the two of them arrived at Jen's house, they were surprised to see her father waiting at the door. Jen immediately pulled Chang away. Then she suddenly kissed him and ran to greet her father. Chang stayed and smiled happily. The next day, Jen went to Chang's house and borrowed a computer to look up information. Jen believed that this computer brought luck. Chang helped her look up, and the results were very good. Jen could start preparing to buy tickets for her upcoming trip. Jen revealed that she was going to be a tutor soon, and from now on, she wouldn't have much time to see Chang anymore. The next day, Chang and Xingqi went to read books, and he learned that the person Jen was going to teach was named Shi Si. That night, after Chan took Shen home, he unexpectedly met her father downstairs. Jen quickly lied that the two were editing photos. However, her father still maintained a strict attitude. He asked Jen to go upstairs. He also reminded Chan to go to the hospital for a follow-up visit on time. When Chang made an excuse that she didn't have time, Jen's father didn't care. He asked Chang to come back for a follow-up visit tomorrow. Jen then decided to confess to her father that she and Chang were dating. Although her father was surprised, he was supportive, no more that he expressed his wish for his daughter to marry a decent man, and he hoped Jen could visit home often. However, Jen explained that the relationship would end in 2 months, because Chan was going to study abroad. At the same time, at Chang's house, he returned to find his mother waiting for him. It turned out that Yang Chi had accidentally revealed his love affair, and Chang's mother had accidentally found out about it. However, the mother did not object, but only announced the plan that next week she would go with Chang to Cheng to start a new life, and he did not need to return home. Although Chang expressed his desire to participate in the project in Dunhuang, she advised him not to worry about it. After the conversation, Chang texted Jen to tell her. When she heard the news, she began to think, because Jen's father noticed the change in his daughter's mood, so he took the initiative to invite her to drink. That night, Jen texted Chang to get her ears pierced the next day. The next day, Chang went to the hospital for a checkup. The results showed that his health had fully recovered. Jen's father welcomed Chang and even showed Chang a video of Jen when she was young. When she was running for class president, she was very confident and adorable at that time. He also revealed that since Jen's mother left, she had gradually changed. Jen no longer smiled and shared her feelings with others. She had wanted to get her ears pierced before, but Jen gave up halfway because she was afraid of the pain. From then on, Jen's father realized that she lacked a sense of security in her heart. Finally, he seriously told Chang that that if he had made up his mind, he had to be decisive. That afternoon, Chiang went to the ear-piercing shop with Jen. While Jen was getting her ears pierced, Chiang saw that it was raining and ran away. Jen went out and received a text message from him. He came back shortly after, bringing 2 cups of ice cream. Chiang thought that eating ice cream would help Jen relieve her pain. She was very grateful for his concern. After Chiang took Jen home, he stayed for a long time because he really didn't want to leave her. When Chiang got home, he saw his father eating. The father suddenly gave him the key to the new apartment, and he wanted Chang to prepare well for the upcoming study abroad trip. When Chang refused to accept the apartment, the father frankly asked him if he really wanted to go abroad. Although Chang said that studying abroad was a good thing, the father still couldn't hide his emotions and told him that no matter where Chang went, he should remember that this was still home and that his relatives were always waiting for him. That afternoon, Chang called Jen. She realized that he was sad, so Jen didn't hesitate and immediately went to his side. When she was about to hug Chiang, Yang Chi appeared. Yang Chi knew that Chiang was going abroad, so he always found a reason to quarrel with Chiang. However, Chiang knew that he was sad, so he immediately went to make up and asked Yang Chi to buy 2 bottles of water. After that, Chiang talked to Jen. She revealed that the first time she met him was in 10th grade, when Jen was cheering for the basketball players. She intended to give the water to the sports vice president, but unexpectedly, Chiang thought she was her fan, so he took the bottle of water and drank it. It was also from then on that Jen began to notice him. Chiang admitted that he had loved her since the first time they met. At that time, Yang Chi returned. He also invited many friends. They held a farewell party for Chiang. After that, everyone sang karaoke together. Jen watched Chiang sing without taking her eyes off. She was also very sad that she was about to leave him. At that time, Jen's father called. He asked her to pass the phone to Chiang. Jen's father made him take his daughter home. Before parting, Juyan sent a message to Chiang. She asked him to send her off for a while. Jen accidentally saw the message, so she took the initiative to ask Chiang to send Juyan off. Shu Ran calmly said that she knew everything, and she was not jealous of these things. When Juyan and Chiang met, Juyan frankly said that if the person Chiang liked was someone else, Juyan would not be willing, but since that person was Jen, she had nothing more to say. However, Juyan hoped that if Chiang broke up with Jen and she was still single, he would give her a chance. Chiang advised Juyan to let go of this feeling, to try to act well, and if Juyan went to Europe to attend a film festival in the future, Chiang promised to cheer her up. After Chiang returned, he saw Jen looking for her lost hair tie. He gently told her to stop looking, and that he would buy her a lot of hair ties in the future. That night, the group of friends drank until they were drunk, and then they went out to eat barbecue together. Chiang also joined in. The atmosphere was very happy until the next morning. After the party, Chiang took Jen home. Both of them knew that this was a real breakup. Jen suggested that the two of them become better versions of themselves. Before Jen and Chiang parted ways, he asked if she could hug him. She agreed and walked over to hug him. When they got home, Chiang started packing her things. Everything is arranged. Meanwhile, Jen was eating without paying attention. Her father saw this and immediately advised her that if Jen missed Chiang, she should go find him. Jen's father even said that if Jen wanted, he could fly her to Europe, but she shook her head and said that they had already broken up and she was going to college elsewhere. Her father comforted her that she would meet someone better when she went to college. He also told Jen to buy mugwort to send to her grandmother. On the way to buy mugwort, Jen accidentally stopped in front of Chiang's house. When he opened the door and saw Jen, she explained that she was passing by, but Chiang knew that this was not a convenient way for her to go shopping. When Jen was about to leave, Chiang realized that her shoelaces were untied. He reminded her to tie them again. Jen bent down and quietly tied them again before turning around and leaving. On this side, Yang Chi played billiards alone. Kai Ying walked over and asked why he was playing alone. He said that Chiang was going abroad soon, so Yang Chi wanted to get used to being alone. Hearing this, Kai Ying offered to play with him. When Chiang was about to fly abroad with everyone, Jen secretly put a card in his pocket. The card said, "As long as Qingyi still has rain, as long as puppies still have tails, there will definitely be someone who loves Chiang." The words were both cute and lingering. It was like a final farewell. Meanwhile, Xingqi came to find Chiang, complaining that his room was connected to his parents' room, and they often argued. Xingqi mentioned that Shishi suddenly stopped replying to his messages. Chiang only advised his younger brother not to fall in love too soon. He had to know how to keep a little mystery. When Xingqi asked if he had ever given Jen a whole melon, Chiang remained silent. While it was raining, Kai Ying still hadn't returned, so her father had to go look for her. When he saw her with Yan Qi, he got angry angry. Kai Ying's father suspected the relationship between the two. Yang Qi admitted that he liked Kai Ying, but he wasn't sure if it was love. Kai Ying didn't know that. Kai Ying didn't answer when questioned, but just quietly turned around and left. The next day, when Yang Qi was about to leave, he sent Kai Ying a message, saying that he would be leaving today. Jen asked why Kai Ying didn't go see Yang Qi off, and then she advised that if Kai Ying didn't have feelings, she and Yang Qi could still be friends. Kai Ying thought it was reasonable and decided to go see Yang Qi off. Finally, before Chiang went abroad, the group of friends gathered to eat together. Xing Qi liked something, and his parents immediately bought it for him. When Chiang and Xing Qi just went out, they suddenly heard a loud bang nearby. Chiang's parents had just returned, and they found someone staggering from the restaurant. A young man covered in blood collapsed right in front of them. Chiang hurriedly shielded Xing Qi in the midst of the chaotic crowd, but Xing Qi was unfortunately pushed over by someone else. Chan's mother immediately called her son. Chan reported that he and Xing Qi were fine. His phone was then bumped and fell to the ground. Chan quickly bent down to pick it up, but the phone was stepped on by someone else several times. The phone case flew off, revealing the four-leaf clover that Jen had given him. A while later, Chan's parents ran over and rushed Xing Qi to the hospital. Jen watched the news and saw the incident. She called Chang in a panic. He saw the call, but his phone was broken and couldn't answer. Chang ran everywhere and finally found a public phone booth to call Jen. She asked if Chang was okay. He said he was okay, and Chang reminded her of the promise to watch the meteor shower with her when he was 80. That night, Chang's mother had a nightmare. She had just gone out when she heard him arguing with his father. Chang said that he had decided not to study abroad. Chang's father was very angry when he heard that. He had spent so much effort to take care of his son to study abroad, but now Chang changed his mind. Chang insisted that this was his own decision, and he only informed him, not asking for his father's opinion. Chang's mother also agreed to let her son return, but Chang's father firmly objected. She immediately mentioned the bloody boy who collapsed in front of her. He was about the same age as Chang. She could not accept such a thing happening. Chang's father thought that this was just a coincidence, but Chang's mother said that she would book a plane ticket back home immediately. After that, Chang and his family quickly returned home. Xing Qi was so scared that he fell ill. The boy wanted ice cream. Chang got out of the car to buy it for his younger brother. Xing Qi felt that after that incident, Chang seemed to have changed. He was no longer as close to everyone as before. At the same time, Jen was about to enter school. Kai Ying and her friends came to see her off. Kai Ying's father gave Jen a big red envelope, saying that when Jen was 6 years old, he had given her lucky money. Jen was afraid that her father would take the money, so she asked Kai Ying's father to keep the red envelope for her and wait until she went to university to get it back. There was 10,000 yuan in the red envelope. Jen's father thought that the amount of money was too much, but Kai Ying's father said that it was his heart. Kai Ying couldn't bear to leave Jen. She promised that she would definitely go to Beijing next year. Jen went to school and greeted her roommates. A sister said that the school had an exchange for students. She had signed up for Jen. After the exchange, Jen returned to her room. She discovered that her earrings were missing and hurriedly went to look for them. When Zhang Yu was about to leave, he saw Jen searching. He decided to help Jen find the earrings. On the way back, Li Kei happened to see them, so he texted Qian. Li Kei reminded him to be careful to avoid losing his girlfriend. Qian was looking at the university's supplementary admission information, and outside, his parents were arguing again. Qian's father thought that even if the country was dangerous, Qian could still go elsewhere. His mother admitted that she had promised him before that she would let Qian study abroad when he was 18, but now Qian's mother didn't want to anymore because she couldn't accept her son being in danger. If Qian's father agreed, they would divorce. Qian's father was extremely angry. He felt that his wife had always deceived him. At this moment, Qian stepped out to protect his mother. His father got angry and thought that Lu Zhou and his mother had discussed this matter before, without telling him. In a fit of anger, he announced the divorce, and then he threw the cup at them. Chang shielded his mother and injured his hand. His mother then helped him treat the wound. Chang felt that as long as he left, everything would be resolved. Chang's mother reassured him not to think so, because this was a matter between his parents, and they would resolve it themselves. That night, Xingqi asked if his parents were really divorced, and who would Chang live with then? When Xingqi knew that Chang was not living with anyone, Xingqi wanted to stay with him, but Chang just told him to go to sleep and then left. Jen called Kaiying. Before Kaiying went to find her father, she overheard her father talking to a colleague. The colleague thought that a girl's education was not important. Getting married was important. But Kaiying's father said that studying was very important. He insisted that she was not inferior to anyone. She could do well in the exam and work to support herself. If Kaiying didn't do well in the exam, her father would support her. For Kaiying's father, whether she got married or not didn't matter. Kaiying was moved to tears when her father spoke well of her. Jen had told Chang before that she had injured her knee when she was young, and it hurt every time it rained. Li Kei brought medicine to Jen. Actually, it was Chang who asked him to bring it. Li Kei didn't understand why he had to do that, but Chang didn't say anything and just thanked Li Kei. Outside the dormitory, a young man was holding a bouquet of flowers and a loudspeaker. He was preparing for a public confession. When her roommate Jen saw the scene, she criticized that this way of confessing was outdated. On the contrary, Jen thought that this way of confessing was no different from forcing others, especially when the girl did not like the boy. She would be in an awkward situation. When the boy began to express his feelings, everyone understood that the person being confessed to was Jen. Just then, her father called and asked about his daughter's leg injury. Jen replied that she was much better. Then, she honestly told him that someone was confessing to her. Jen's father advised his daughter not to worry about love. At this time, Jen pouted and commented that the other person was not even as handsome as Chiang. Her father wanted to know what Chiang had to do with this. Jen replied with disdain that it was humiliating for a literature student to have to borrow someone else's poem to confess his love. Jen's roommate couldn't stand the noise, so she went down to ask the guy to stop. She said that Jen had a lot of people chasing her, and if the boy wanted to confess, he would have to line up. The boy retorted that love did not distinguish between first and last. The girl laughed and said that Zhang Yu was also waiting to confess to Jen. The other roommates all agreed that Zhang Yu was quite handsome, but Jen did not think so. A friend joked that for a person in love, their lover was as beautiful as she, and Jen's ex-boyfriend was probably not as handsome as she thought. Jen simply replied that it was a matter of personal taste. While Yang Qi was working out at the gym, he video called Kai Ying. When Chai Ying saw a muscular guy behind Yang Qi, she eagerly asked him to move aside so she could look at the handsome guy. Jen and Yang Qi then went out to eat together. He unhappily told her what had just happened, and Yang Qi insisted that he also had muscles. Jen laughed and said that perhaps it was because everyone's perspective was different, because girls often liked the type of person who looked thin when wearing a shirt, but when that person took off his shirt, his muscles were exposed. While Yang Qi and Jen were chatting, Yang Qi said that before Jen went to Beijing, Chang had told him to pay attention to her because he didn't want her to be bullied. When Jen curiously asked specifically, Yang Qi replied that Chang didn't talk much. He just mentioned it and didn't interfere in her love life. Yang Qi then advised Jen to try to love someone new and that she shouldn't find someone to replace Chang. One day, Yang Qi unexpectedly met Chang again. He was surprised to learn that his friend had returned, and Chang had even decided not to study abroad, but to apply for additional admission to Huaguang University. When Chang was asked if his family agreed, he affirmed that from now on, he would live according to his own choices. Hearing this, Yang Qi suggested that the two of them rent a house together because his current roommates snored so loudly that he couldn't sleep. Chang agreed on the condition that the electricity and water bills were split equally. When Jen and her roommate went to school, Zhang Yu had already reserved a seat. One of Jen's friends teased that Jen and Zhang Yu were dating without telling anyone, but she immediately denied it. She insisted that Zhang Yu was not her boyfriend. Another friend mentioned that there were still additional recruitment quotas. She thought that it would be shameful if someone came in late and studied worse. After school, Zhang Yu came to find Jen. He asked her to work part-time during the National Day holiday, but Zhang Yu was rejected by Jen. Chang was looking for the results. He was happy to see that he had passed the additional recruitment. Yang Qi, who was sitting next to her, was also very happy when Tai Ying came to find Yang Qi. She saw that the furniture in the room was arranged in pairs, so she immediately suspected that Yang Qi had a girlfriend. Just as Kai Ying was about to leave, Chang returned. She wanted to tell Jen the news, but Chang stopped her and said that he would tell her himself himself when the time was right. Kai Ying then went to visit Jen, and the two chatted happily. One day, Jiang went to the cafeteria and coincidentally met Jen again. The unexpected meeting surprised Jen. After she left first, Li Kei asked Chang what was wrong. Chang asked Li Kei if it was true that many people were pursuing Jen. Li Kei confirmed that there were many, including Zhang Yu. He was also in the same class as Jen. Li Kei added that Jen's roommate and Zhang Yu were old classmates. It was this roommate who introduced Jen to the propaganda department. Thanks to that, Zhang Yu had more opportunities to be close to Jen. So Li Kei advised Chiang that if he wanted to pursue Jen, he had to speed up the process. That night, Kai Ying talked to Jen and misspoke, so she had to admit that she met Chiang at Yangqi's place. Kai Ying promised that this was absolutely the last time she lied, and that no matter what, she would always prioritize her best friend. Jen declared that they would cut ties for 24 hours, and she would go home and do her homework to calm down. When Jen arrived at the dormitory, a sister praised Zhang Yu for being very nice, and then she asked Jen what she thought of him. Jen said that she had no feelings for Zhang Yu. The sister had no choice but to give up after hearing this. Lu Yi talked about her boyfriend with a troubled expression. She felt that her boyfriend liked to arrange everything for her, and Lu Yi didn't like that. Jen advised Lu Yi to be clear with her boyfriend. Chiang found his roommate to ask for the architecture department's class schedule. Then he went to the cafeteria to wait for Jen to explain. Chiang said that there was an explosion in Ruicheng at that time, and Chiang's mother was very worried and agreed to let him stay in the country. He originally planned to retake the college entrance exam, but Chiang accidentally saw the school's supplementary enrollment plan, so he decided to try his luck. Jen asked why Chiang didn't tell her, because at that time, Chiang didn't know if he would succeed or not, so he didn't dare tell Jen in advance. The next day, when Jen went to school, Chiang even saved a seat for her. Later, her roommate saw her talking to Chiang, and she didn't expect their relationship to be so good. When Jen returned to the room, her roommates immediately asked her about her relationship with Chiang. Only then did they find out that he was Jen's ex-boyfriend, and they felt that Chiang was quite handsome. The next day, Chiang and Li Kei went to the library to read. A girl approached and asked Chiang if he had a girlfriend. He said that it was not convenient here and asked her to go out to talk. When Chiang and the girl just walked out, Jen and her roommate also happened to go to the library. Chiang told the girl that he was trying to get his ex-girlfriend back. After Chiang returned, Li Kei asked him if he had seen Jen. Chiang replied that he had seen her downstairs. He thought that Jen must have been jealous. However, when Li Kei looked at Jen's calm expression, he felt that she had forgotten about the past. Chiang's mother called to blame him for not bringing his card, so she transferred living expenses to his WeChat account. Chiang refused to accept it and promised to try to win a Bay scholarship. His mother said that the scholarship was only 10,000 yuan and that there wasn't much left after Chiang paid his tuition, so his mother would still send him money, and whether he would use it or not was up to him. Then Chiang's mother transferred him 10,000 yuan. Hao Ming overheard the conversation and said that there were some part-time jobs at school. Chiang explained that Hao Ming misunderstood. He just didn't want to use his family's money. Hao Ming saw that Chiang used such a the zone, so he didn't look like someone who was short of money. Liu Yi's architectural design homework was not good. She said that the lecturer suggested that students could use the zone to observe the exterior of architectural works, which would be very helpful for the subject. Liu Yi heard that Chiang had the zone, so she wanted to ask Jen to borrow it for her. Jen agreed to try. The next day, she came to find Chiang and offered to borrow the zone. He agreed immediately and said that if any Jen needed it, he could let him know. Lu Yi was having a birthday party soon, and she wanted to invite Hao Ming and Chiang. Jen had no objections. 2 days ago, Chiang and Zhang Yu played basketball together. Zhang Yu told Chiang that he knew that Chiang was Jen's ex-boyfriend. Zhang Yu also said that Jen agreed to be friends with him because his avatar was exactly the same as Chiang's, so Jen thought it was his sub-account. Zhang Yu also guessed that Jen's earrings were given by Chiang. It was lost at the party and Jen had been looking for it for a long time. Zhang Yu warned Chiang that if Chiang wanted to keep Jen, he should not hurt her anymore, and he should not give Zhang Yu a chance. That night, after Jen's group finished dinner, it suddenly started to rain on their way home. Chiang pulled Jen under an awning to take shelter from the rain. Then he asked her if she missed him. Jen replied that she did not, but Chiang kissed her. The midterm exams were approaching. Jen and Chiang bet on which side, Yizhong School or Ruijun, got the higher score. The next day, Chang happened to meet Jen with Tan Su, who was about to invite her out to dinner. Although Chang tried to keep a calm attitude, his mood was still disturbed. When Chang went out to eat with Yang Qi, he couldn't concentrate. Yang Qi quickly noticed the difference and teased Chang that he was jealous. Yang Qi advised him to face his feelings instead of avoiding them. After that, Chang decided not to bother his roommate anymore. He rented a separate place to have more space to concentrate. As for the meeting between Jen and Tan Su, it was just a normal meeting, because he currently needed her advice. Tan Su confessed that he was studying for the exam, but there was no progress. His test results were getting worse and worse. Tan Su hoped to find motivation to study again from the old environment. Jen listened, and also didn't forget to remind that Tan Su needed to clearly define his true goals. Meanwhile, Yang Qi went to bed after getting drunk, while Chan continued to do homework all night. He left early in the morning to make it to his breakfast date with Jen, but Jen was so tired that she fell asleep on the desk. When she woke up, it was already past 8 a.m. Chan left in disappointment after waiting for so long. Although Jen tried to contact her afterward, Chan did not respond because he had forgotten his phone in the dormitory. Jen still tried to maintain a normal routine. She asked her roommate to take her acquaintance to watch basketball. When Jen was asked about her boyfriend, she did not explain and just left quietly. Jen finally went to the basketball court to give Chan water. When she asked why he did not reply to her text message, Chan replied that he had forgotten his phone, but his expression was strange. Soon after, Chan confessed that he had seen her and Tan Su together, and Chan expressed his hurt feelings. Although Jen insisted that there was nothing between him and Tan Su, Chan thought that Jen did not really care about his feelings. After that conversation, Chan said goodbye in silence. Later, Yang Qi contacted Jen, saying that he could not call Chan. When Yang Qi and Jen met, he said that Chan had come to find Jen since 4 a.m., but he could not meet her. Yang Qi also revealed more about Chan's situation. Since childhood, Chan had lacked attention from his parents, and he had never been praised, even though he had always been an excellent student. The shock of divorce in his family caused him to suffer a lot of mental pressure. These things made Jen begin to understand Chan, and she also knew the loneliness and hurt that he was hiding. With Yang Qi's help, Jen planned to meet Chiang again at a karaoke session. Two other friends, Yang Qi and Chai Ying, were also present. They then found an excuse to leave to give Chiang and Jen some private space. Meanwhile, Kai Ying asked Yang Qi about something, which was the last time he got drunk and confessed his love over the phone. Yang Qi awkwardly explained that he was drunk at the time and said nonsense. When only Jen and Chiang were left in the room, the atmosphere in the room was very awkward. Even though Chang had moved out of the room, Jen still hoped he would come back. Chang then took Jen back to his room, but he was reluctant to leave. Jen saw that she had run out of toothbrushes and was about to go out to get them, but she saw Chang still standing outside. He couldn't hold back anymore and pulled her into the room. Chang expressed that he was not willing to part like this. Then Chang went to kiss Jen. Chang expressed that if he left like this, he would feel unwilling. Jen then asked Chang if he was still angry, and she suggested that if he was still angry, he should run a few laps around the gym to vent. Chang was about to leave, but Jen asked him to return the hair tie, so he had to return it to her. On the way, Chang received a text message from Jen, reminding her of the previous agreement that if Jen spent money on Chang, she would have to write an 800-word essay. Today, the money at the karaoke bar was paid by Jen, so she asked Chang to convert it accordingly so she could write an essay. Jen also confessed that if she simply wanted to date Chang, she could absolutely use romantic words. However, what Jen wanted was to be able to stay with him for a longer time. She also secretly went to see the exhibition that Chang attended. Jen affirmed that even if she was old at 80 years old, she would still be the first one to run up and grab the rose for him. Because to Jen, Chang was a romantic poet. After Chang read those lines, he was moved and immediately went back to find Jen. Finally, the two officially got back together. After that, Chang called Yang Qi to inform that he and Jen were officially in love. Both Yang Qi and Chai Ying were happy. Yang Qi also joked that Chiang was really bad at love, so Chiang had to ask for his help to succeed. That night, when Yang Qi took Kai Ying home, the two discovered that the gate to the cram school was closed, so they had to go around to the back gate and climb over. Yang Qi let Kai Ying step on his foot, and he didn't forget to give her his coat and tell her to take care of her health. The next morning, Jen and Chang went to breakfast together. She said that her roommate wanted to invite him to a meal because he had lent them the zone, but Chang quickly refused because that meeting made him feel panicked. When Jen learned that Lee K was urging Chang to go to school, she exclaimed that his major was really competitive. Then Chang's group went to the library to study. Lee K said that many people were speculating whether Chang was moving out to live with his girlfriend. He explained that because Yang Chi came to visit, Chang would only stay at the hotel with him for 2 days. During the basketball game afterward, Yang Chi expressed his desire to stay with his group of friends. Chan said that he had just changed majors, so he had to take many makeup classes, so it would be more convenient to stay in school. Chang also promised that in the second year when Lee K wanted to start a business, Chang would move out to live with him. At the same time, Zhen got a perfect score in calculus. Yan Qi thought that Chang was just as talented, but Lee K argued that Yan Qi was overpraising Chang because Chang only got 96 points. Chang just smiled and said that Zhen was a poor, talented girl. While Chang and Zhen were eating together, Chang received a text message from Xing Qi, who said that he had arrived at Beijing. At first, Chang thought it was a joke, but Xing Qi sent a photo as proof. Immediately after, Chang and Zhen went to see Xing Qi. The boy called Zhen his sister-in-law as soon as they met, but she told him to call her sister. Chang wanted to buy a ticket for her brother to go home, but the boy firmly refused. Xing Qi said that his father was often away from home, and if he came back, it was only to scold him, so Xing Qi decided to run away from home. Chang had to call his mother. She said she was coming and wanted to see him and talk. Chang agreed and asked Zhen to help look after his brother. When Chang met his mother, Chang expressed that he knew his true identity. During a previous argument, his mother had said that Chang was her biological son, and that he was born after she had carried him for 10 months. However, she had abandoned him once, and now she would not do it again. Chang then asked why she had to go to the orphanage. Chang's mother said that when she was pregnant, it was difficult for her to find a job. Then she met her current husband. He accepted Chang, so she agreed to marry him. Not long after, Chang's biological father found out. He came to cause trouble, and caused a lot of trouble. In the end, Chang's mother was forced to hand him over to him. However, this man was fond of racing. He did not care about safety and got into an accident. He fell into a deep coma. Chang's grandmother was mentally ill, so she could not take care of her grandson, so Chang was sent to a welfare hospital. Later, Chang's mother found out and came to find him. At that time, Xing Qi was seriously ill. She was forced to lie to her husband that she brought Chang back to help Xing Qi overcome his bad luck. Later, her husband discovered the truth. However, the two agreed that when Chang turned 18, they would send him abroad. While Chang and his mother were talking, Xing Qi also told Zhen about his brother's childhood. The boy said that Chang was adopted and was not close to anyone in the family, but Chang paid special attention to Zhen. A while later, his mother came to pick up Xing Qi, and she also told Chang to take good care of himself. On Chang's birthday, he and his friends went to a street food stall to eat. There, Yan Qi gave Chang a limited edition hoodie. Yan Qi was a little puzzled because Chang's birthday was only celebrated simply at a roadside stall, but Chang was very pleased with this. Just then, Zhen came over. Chang greeted her presence with teasing because she didn't bring a gift. Hearing this, Zhen quickly went to buy a small gift, which was a basketball-shaped keychain, which replaced the ball that Chang had asked for. She explained that the keychain was small and wouldn't hurt if she accidentally threw it at someone. During a class, Kai Ying was called up by the teacher to read the news, but her performance was not good, making the teacher unhappy. That evening, Zhen took Chang to a special place. He was surprised by the gift she prepared, which was a small house model. Zhen gave the gift as a symbol of companionship, emphasizing that at the age of 19, she had always been by Chang's side. However, when Chang was 6 years old, he lacked a home of his own. Zhen hoped that the two of them could build a house together in Qingyi. Chang was deeply moved by Zhen's words. As the two of them were preparing to cut the cake, Zhen received a call from her father. He asked her if she had anyone special in her heart lately, and if she still kept in touch with Chiang. Zhen replied that she did not love anyone, and that she had not been in contact with Chiang for a long time. But Chang overheard the whole conversation, but he only teased her for lying to her father. After that, the two continued to tease each other as usual. The next day, when Zhen's group went to class, the teacher announced that there were 3 assignments to be submitted, including Zhen's. This made her very upset. At noon, Chang came to ask Zhen to eat, but she refused and chose to go to the library to review by herself. Later, Jen's roommate recounted that most of their assignments were guided by Jen, but only hers was not approved. Hearing this, Chang went to find Jen. He advised her to eat to have the energy to continue working. Jen decided to go see the teacher to ask for the reason. The teacher said that her assignment was actually very good compared to everyone else, but because he highly valued her ability, he set higher requirements for Jen's assignment. Although the paper met the technical requirements, it lacked the humanistic elements of public space design. Hearing this, Jen went back and edited the paper. Then she tiredly fell asleep on her desk. In her dream, Jen saw her mother. Her mother scolded her for her poor work and even told her that if Jen couldn't do it, she should give up. Jen didn't understand why her mother told her that. Her mother only told her to cry if she felt wronged, but Jen couldn't even cry. Jen woke up from her dream and immediately texted Chiang, saying that she was in his dormitory. Jen couldn't cry, so she could only go to Chiang, hoping that he could comfort her. At that time, Chiang's group was arguing about choosing a mentor for the mathematical modeling competition. When Chiang was asked for his opinion, he only said that Jen had a nightmare and needed to be comforted, and then left. Jen then told Chiang about the dream, about the feeling of loss, and the emotional repression that lasted for many years. She mentioned that in the days after her mother passed away, someone came to her house with a baby in their arms, blaming her family for not continuing the project, so they were not paid, as if they were abandoned by Jen's mother. However, Jen understood clearly. Those people had been wholeheartedly helped by her mother. From then on, she began to believe that feelings were the most useless thing. Then the two of them went to the movies together. In the theater, Chiang was so moved that she burst into tears. Jen just gently comforted him. She thought that everything in the movie was just fiction, and it wasn't worth his tears. That evening, Yang Chi went to find his senior. He hoped that his senior could give him a small corner to hang his paintings, but his senior refused, saying that Yang Chi's work was not placed in the freshman art exhibition, so it couldn't be placed in the school-wide exhibition. Yang Chi begged his senior to help, but he bluntly said that people like Yang Chi were recruited by the school just to help others gain confidence. So Yang Chi shouldn't waste his time drawing, but he should go be a fitness trainer. Kai Ying went to find Yang Chi and overheard the conversation. Yang Chi felt very embarrassed. Kai Ying comforted him and said that he had passed the entrance exam to a top university. While she was still studying for the exam, Kai Ying believed that the difference between people was very obvious. Many people could not stand out, but they still worked hard and eventually succeeded. Kai Ying said that if Yang Chi ever held an art exhibition in the future, he would definitely call her to come and see it. Yang Chi immediately agreed. The next day, Zhang came to Teacher Bai Shang's class to study with him. The teacher asked the whole class to do a practical activity. He handed out models to everyone and asked them to start. After the whole class finished, Teacher Bai Shang said that only 2 groups were profitable. When the teacher asked Chang which class he was in, he replied that he had just come to study with him and that he wanted to change to this major from his second year. Teacher Bai Shang asked about Chang's idea. Hearing him present his idea, the teacher thought it was quite good. Chang returned and told Li Kei and everyone that Teacher Bai Shang was a very good teacher, and his demeanor and temperament were also suitable for him. Li Kei's group only had 2 people, so they didn't have any further comments. Jiang Cheng decided to contact Teacher Bai Shang. Li Kei felt strange. Jiang Cheng was a student of the computer science department. How could he have a way to contact Teacher Bai Shang? Jiang Cheng explained that Teacher Bai Shang was his girlfriend's father, Chiang, and everyone were very surprised to hear that. Meanwhile, Jen had a nightmare. In her dream, she was scolded by her mother. Jen always felt that her mother never praised her. She always found reasons to scold her daughter. Jen didn't know what to do. Chiang came to invite Jen to dinner, but he saw that she was tired and unhappy. Jen told Chiang about her nightmare. Chiang suggested that they should try to worship. Then, Jen and Chiang went together. They didn't expect to meet Yang Chi and Kai Ying there. Chiang wanted to put his letter up, but the person there said that this place only accepts blessing cards, not letters. Hearing this, Chiang had no choice but to give up. After Shuzhou returned, she found a letter written by Chiang in her pocket. He wrote a letter to Jen's mother, saying that she had come back to her in her dream yesterday. Chiang said that Jen's mother had never been satisfied with her and had never praised her daughter once. So Chiang wanted to ask her mother that if she came back in her dream next time, she should praise Jen. He hoped that she would say that Jen was really wonderful. After a while, Jen came to find Chiang. She hugged him and thanked him for the letter. Then Jen called her father. A woman claiming to be a nurse answered the phone and said that someone was causing trouble in the hospital. Jen's father wanted to intervene, but unfortunately fell. But now he was fine. Actually, this woman was Jen's father's girlfriend. She felt that her son was still in high school, so she had no intention of starting a new family. She wanted to wait until her son had a stable job and life before thinking about it. Jen's father said that everything is up to her. The course at the center ended. Kai Ying and her group of friends went out to celebrate. She was preparing to return home after studying. Meanwhile, Jen was about to have a break, and Chang still had to stay at school because of work. Although the three of them were about to be apart, they remained optimistic and promised to meet again soon. When they arrived home, Jen was picked up by her father, while Kai Ying visited her and shared that she had secretly liked Yang Qi. However, she wanted to wait until after the college entrance exam to confess her feelings, so Kai Ying asked Jen to keep it a secret. That day, Jen's father and Kai Ying's father cooked together. They talked about the relationship between Jen's father and Director Wei. The two agreed that they should wait a while before revealing it to Jen. After everyone finished dinner, Kai Ying couldn't bear to say goodbye to Jen, while Jen stayed home with her father. Both of them wanted to call their lovers, but they had to find a private time. The father and son watched TV together and fell asleep. Then they quickly called their lovers. While Chang was talking to Jen, he was called to work by Xingqi, so they had to stop the conversation. In the following days, Jen's father had many strange changes. He rarely cooked or went out. This made Jen wonder and share with Chang. She didn't understand the reason behind the change. Meanwhile, a fire broke out. The injured person was taken to the hospital where her father worked. Although burns were not Jen's father's specialty, he still went to the hospital at Kai Ying's father's request. Jen's father took this opportunity to contact Director Wei's son. The boy already knew about his mother's dating and did not object. At that moment, Jen came to the hospital and gave her father her phone, and she accidentally heard the whole story. Jen calmly accepted. She wanted to meet the woman her father was dating. However, Jen then disappeared and could not be contacted. Chang worriedly called many times, but no one answered. He immediately asked Kai Ying to check. When Kai Ying still could not find Jen, Chang decided to ask permission to go home to look for her. Luckily, as soon as Jen got home, she called Chang back. She explained that she had left her phone charging, so she did not know about the missed call. She also admitted that she was very confused when she found out that her father had a lover. However, she asked Chang not to go home because he still had a lot of work to do, but Chang ignored Jen's advice and still went to find her. When he arrived, he met Jen's father and used the excuse of delivering books. Her father enthusiastically helped Chang carry the suitcase into the house. At the same time, Xingqi also came to see Chang, but Chang asked his younger brother to leave the next day. Chang's mother also called and asked if he wanted to go home for the new year, but he refused and decided to stay at school. The next day, Jen went with his father to visit his grandmother. She told Chang that she couldn't go home today. He told her to remember to come back early to return the suitcase. When Chang was asked about the important things in the suitcase, he joked that he was out of underwear. At the same time, Jen talked to her father about Chang. Her father admitted that Chang was a good boy and wanted to invite both Headmaster Wei and Chang to dinner on the third day of the new year. After that, Chang sent Xingqi home. He met his stepfather again. At this time, his stepfather admitted his past mistakes. He thought that he had ruined his family. However, his stepfather still considered Chang as a family member. He gave him a red envelope and apologized to Chang. Chang did not accept the money. He only promised to come back to visit his stepfather when he had time. Meanwhile, Fu Qing went to see Chang to return the suitcase. He was a friend of Jen's parents. At the same time, Fu Qing warned that if Chang was not serious, he should not love Jen. At this time, Chang denied all wrongdoings. At the same time, he promised to change in the future. After Jen returned, she and Chang went to the supermarket to buy gifts for Director Wei. When everyone arrived at Director Wei's house, Chang and Jen had dinner with her father and grandmother. After Director Wei saw her childhood photo, she gave Jen a helmet. During the meal, Jen's father showed his goodwill towards Chang. He even tested Chang's cooking skills, wanting to know if their tastes were compatible. After eating, Jen's father drank a bit too much wine, so he teased Chang by teaching him to tie Jen's ponytail. Before Chang left, he gave Jen a felt craft but she teased him that he only needed to give her his bank card. Chang even revealed her password to show her sincerity. Everything seemed to be going well, but Chang's mother suddenly came to Jen's house. She accidentally met Jen's father. The two had known each other before. The two had complicated past memories, and they agreed that they should not let their children know about the past. However, Jen and Chiang accidentally overheard the conversation, and at this time, they began to have doubts. Jen questioned her father, but he did not say anything. She then shared with Chiang the story of a person who had a traffic accident and was in a coma for several years. That person was Fu Qing. Chiang followed the clues to confirm the matter with her mother. She admitted that when she found out she was pregnant, she wanted to get married, but Fu Qing refused. Later, when Fu Qing woke up and wanted to find her son, she lied that Chiang had been adopted by someone else. She then took him back to live with her, and the two of them also cut off all contact with Fu Qing. When Jen learned the truth, she was worried because she couldn't find Chiang. She called repeatedly, but no one answered. Jen was about to go out to look for him when she suddenly saw him return home. Jen's father slipped and injured his leg. As soon as Jen and everyone else heard the news, they rushed to the hospital. However, Kai Ying's father said that the accident did not happen on the way to work, so it could not be considered a work accident. Because Jen's father went all the way to Songbai Road, Director Wei was the only one who knew clearly. He went there to buy books for Wei Lin. This information made Jen feel uncomfortable, but this did not escape John's attention. Jen confided that when she was little, her father often bought cakes for her on Songbai Road. Although Jen's mother forbade it, her father still secretly fed her before her mother got off work. But this time, Jen's father went to Songbai Road not for her, which made Jen a little disappointed. At this time, Chang took the initiative to show his concern for Jen. At the same time, Yang visited Jen's father, and he also learned that Chang was his son. Yang then took the initiative to meet Chang's mother. He frankly admitted his mistakes in the past, and at the same time he also wanted to make it up to her. When asked about the specific form of compensation, Yang intended to give the Xuanchuan farm back to Chang. At the same time, he affirmed that he was willing to give his son everything he had. However, Chang's mother thought that her son had grown up. Chang now had his own opinions, and Fu Qing could not use material things to solve the consequences. Although Yang acknowledged this point of view, he still visited Jen's father, and at the same time, he sent a red envelope to Chang. However, he had no intention of accepting this gift, but Jen's father explained that there was no money inside. Previously, Chang had given all the envelopes she received to Jen. When Jen opened the envelope, she discovered 2 tickets to the boxing gym inside. Through Jen's father, Yang wanted to invite Jen to go with Chang. This was an opportunity to resolve the conflict. Jen was confused by Chang's attitude. He asked back about the relationship between Jen and Yang. She admitted that he used to be very good to her. Yang was the one who took care of her when her parents were busy, and he was also the one who taught Jen racing skills. After the incident in Jen's family, it was Yang who helped her and her mother get through the difficult period. So Jen really couldn't believe that Yang had made the same mistakes as now. When Jen arrived at the library, Chiang went to see Yang. There, Chiang expressed that he could forgive him, not because they were related by blood, but because Yang had treated Jen well. Chiang did not want her to fall into an awkward situation between the two. To him, Yang was Jen's uncle before, and he would only stop at that role later. Jen's father prepared a sumptuous meal to treat everyone. Although Chiang was late, he still brought fruit as a gift. Jen's father knew that Jen was allergic to peanuts, so he adjusted the recipe for stir-fried chicken. He also promised not to use this ingredient from now on. That thoughtfulness touched Chiang. On the way back, he saw his mother waiting at the door. Since Chiang doesn't come home often, she had to come here herself. Before the new school year started, Chiang's mother wanted to have a meal with her son. Although she admitted that she wasn't a good cook, she still wanted to go into the kitchen to prepare a meal for her son. While Chiang and her mother were talking, she mentioned that Chiang had refused to accept the farm that Yang had given him. Chiang's mother thought it was a foolish move, because he could have kept the farm for Jen. Chan didn't say anything and just stood up to cook. He joked that he was a good cook because he often cooked for his future father-in-law. After Jen's father was about to be discharged from the hospital, Chiang and everyone else came to help with the arrangements. The next day, Jen got up early to draw the blueprints, which made Chiang feel a little angry because she refused to sleep more. During the holiday, Chiang went out with Jen to buy things. On the way back, they happened to meet Jen's father and headmaster Wei. Chiang saw Jen's father carrying things, so he quickly helped, making Jen's father very happy, because he felt like he had another son. Jen asked about Wei Lin's return time. Director Wei said that she still had to work for a few more days because the university had not yet closed. That evening, Kai Ying asked Jen out for dinner. She said that she and Yang Qi had argued. Yang Qi happened to come here to eat too, but he and Kai Ying still refused to talk to each other. Qian tactfully pulled Yang Qi out to talk. He confided in her concerns about Kai Ying's job and safety, especially after the fight at a filming session. Even so, Yang Qi still could not stop Kai Ying from pursuing her passion. He just hoped that she would keep herself safe. In this scene, Kai Ying and Jen were talking about the future. Jen had received several job offers. Chang was in graduate school and might become a lecturer. Jen did not object but respected her boyfriend's decision. She also shared that she wanted to live an ideal life, like teacher Bai Shan, who taught Chan, but he had not been promoted despite his ability. At that time, Yang Qi and Chan brought flowers back to give to Kai Ying and Jen. However, before Kai Ying could receive the flowers, a phone call came in to inform her that she had to go support a report. Yang Qi saw this and followed to protect Kai Ying. When only Jen and Chan were left at the shop, she wondered why he gave her flowers. Chang explained that he was afraid that Jen would be sad if she did not receive flowers like Kai Ying, so he bought a bouquet for her. Yang Qi followed Tai Ying to the recording session. During the filming, a conflict arose between the shop and the program crew. Yang Qi immediately intervened and announced that he had called the police. Yang Qi insisted that he did not object to Kai Ying's work, but he was worried that dangerous situations like today might happen. So Yang Qi wanted Kai Ying to know how to protect herself. She also agreed to his reminder. The next day, Qian proposed to Zhen with a ring, which was hidden in the felt he had given her. Zhen happily agreed, and that happy moment was witnessed by everyone. They took a photo together to preserve the memory. Before Chan left for Richeng for an exchange study, their 5th anniversary was approaching. Although Jen was busy and could not send him to the airport, the two kept in touch regularly. When Chan arrived, he met Jen again in an unexpected situation. She appeared at the cinema, and she and he watched the movie that commemorated their relationship. Then Chan took Jen to the bridge in the movie, and the building with her mother's name engraved on the stone tablet. It was an architectural work designed by her mother, which Jen had never known before. This moment made Jen extremely emotional. Here she and Chang redefined love. Love is not something that ends with marriage, but it is a journey together and becomes better. In the end, they returned to their hometown to take wedding photos. Jen and Chang found each other among more than 7 billion people, and from now on, they will continue their unfinished love story together. Today's movie ends here. See you again in the next videos.